All right, for this next section is for 10 through 11. They want us to find the surface area of each figure. Round your answer to the nearest hundreds or tenths. I'm not taking off for the rounding. Leave your answer in terms of pi. Please do that for your answer that contains a pi. Now, because they are asking us to find surface area right here, that's always going to be basically your total surface area. Okay, so they're asking for surface area that's total. If they want lateral, they specifically say lateral. But we're going to ask for the total on the 6-week exam. So I went ahead and put the formula. This is the first thing I can give you credit for, given the correct formula. In order to do this, one, we have to recognize what type of three-dimensional shape we have here. And this is a triangular prism. The reason why is because our faces that are congruent, which are these two triangles right here, dictate the type of prism you have, and also let us know the base. We name a prism or a pyramid by the shape of the base. Some students like to just kind of highlight the base to know what we're dealing with. And if you want, you can break the formula by each part. Start with the P. Make sure you know what the P represents. The P represents the perimeter of the base. Okay, P is your perimeter of the base. Okay, so that is your distance around. So if I was to start at the top, walk here, that's 8. Then here, that would be 6. Then back up to here, this was our hypotenuse. It's not labeled on that side, but it's labeled here, okay? In a prism, your parallel sides are congruent, so this would be 10 as well. So P is 8 plus 6 plus 10. You need to recognize that and be able to do that. So we have 24 meters. So we got the P. The next thing we need to identify is this H. Okay? Your H is the height. The H in the formula is the height of the prism or the pyramid. And that is your distance between the bases for a prism. These are facts you just need to know so you can apply the formula correctly. Distance between, I'm going to abbreviate that, bases. So this is why highlighting the bases or putting your B on the bases can help us find that distance between them. And that distance between them is right here. It's 9. So the height of the prism is 9. That's the difference between the height of our base, because our capital B represents the area of the base. I'm going to extend this page a little bit. Excuse me. Come up, come up, come up. So when I get to capital B, remember this means area of the bases, or the base. Okay? And our base in this prism is a right triangle, which helps because to do the area of a triangle, there's two ways. Most of y'all tell me, on the formula chart it says 1/2 BH. I love the fact that most of y'all tell me base times height divided by 2, because it means the same thing, okay? Just recognize your base and your height are the segments that are perpendicular, okay? Your base in a triangle is always perpendicular to your height. Same thing in a rectangle, same thing in a square, okay? Same thing even in a trapezoid. The base of the trapezoid has to be perpendicular to the height. So all I gotta do is look at where this right angle is, which was right here too. Look at that side. We got a 6. Then the other side that makes that T, or that right angle, is 8. So we're doing 6 times 8 divided by 2. And we also get 24. It's possible that your base and your perimeter could be the same. Don't let that throw you off. So now all we're going to do now that we have all the parts, which if you give me every part, this is how I can give you partial credit, is plug it into the formula. The surface area is equal to our perimeter, which was the 24, times the height of the prism, which is the 9, plus 2 times the area of the base, which was 24. Well, break it down to parts. We're going to multiply a 24 and our 9 together, that gives us 216 plus 2 times 24, 48. And then we add them together, we get 264 meters squared. It's meters squared when dealing with area. So on number 11, you have a pyramid. The formula is already given to you. Let's just break it down by parts. We'll start with our P. Remember, our P represents the perimeter of the base. Our base here is a square because it's 8 by 8, then another 8 and an 8. So instead of adding up all 8s, yes, you could just say 4 times 8. And that's 32 centimeters. The next part you need is this L, this cursive L. Well, that represents the slant height. L is the slant height. If you need to make a note of that, please do so, so you know what that is. The slant height is the height of the lateral face. And in a pyramid, the lateral face is always, I'm going to say, which is the triangle. Okay? It's the height of the triangle. So, and it's got to be slanted. It needs to be leaning. So right here, they've already drew it for us and put an arrow telling us how long it is. This 9.8 is my L, my slant height. So I don't even need to calculate that. If it wasn't there, you would, and most of the times you just have to use Pythagorean theorem for that. So L equals 9.8. The next part I need is the base, the B, the capital B. No different than the problem before. Area of the base. Well, that's the square. So it's an 8 by 8, which is 64 centimeters squared. So now all I have to do is plug it into the formula. Let's do this because some of us are still making some mistakes. The formula says 1/2 times the P, which is a perimeter, times the slant height, then plus the area of the base. So I'm going to plug it in exactly the way it's written. 1/2. My P, 32. My L, 9.8. Plus my 64. Okay, guys, so make sure all of this is taken care of first. Meaning, we're multiplying the 32 and the 9.8 together, then dividing by 2, then adding the 64. Sorry, I ran out of a little bit of room here. So I'm going to come down to the bottom. I'll extend the page. So when I simplify the 32 times 9.8 divided by 2, that gives me 156.8. Let me rewrite this so I don't want y'all to get confused. When I did this, when I did this first, this was 156.8. Then I add the 64. We do not, order of operations says we do not add and then divide. Okay, so you cannot add the base and then divide. You have to do the perimeter times the slant height first. Go ahead and add it. You got your answer, centimeters squared. All right, and then for the next type of shape we're going to have on our 6 weeks, we have a cylinder. And the surface area for a cylinder is 2 pi RH plus 2 pi R squared. So all I need is the radius. The radius is the point, the distance from the center to the circumference or to the edge of the circle. Please recognize if I give you a line that goes all the way through the center like this here, that represents the diameter. That is not the radius. Some of you are just looking at a number, plugging it in. No, make sure you're using the right part. That's why I'm asking you to write it out. So our radius is 4 here. And then our height is still our distance between the circles. Our height is 9. That's all I need. I need an R and an H for this formula. So I can go straight to plugging it in. 2 pi times my 4 times my 9 plus 2 pi times my 4 squared. All right, order of operations is I do my exponent first. So that would give me, I'm just going to rewrite this. plus 2 pi times 16. 4 squared is 16, not 8. It's not 4 times 2. It's 4 times 4. All right, guys. Multiplication is basically a commutative. Means the order doesn't really matter. Okay. So I could say 2 times 4, then times 8. Just basically take your numbers and multiply numbers together. Those are constants. Those are like terms. Those are things I can do together. So I could do that, or I could say 4 times 9 first, which is my 36, then multiply the 2. Doesn't matter. I'm still going to get here 72 pi. And then 2 times 16, that's my 32 pi. Well, now, these are like terms. This is just like saying 32x plus 72x. When I add them together, 104 pi, and this was kilometers squared. Okay? That's my surface area. That's my answer. So then we have a cone. And the formula for cone is pi RL plus pi r squared. Well, radius, L represents what again? Slant height. And so all I got to do is see, can I identify the radius? Center to the edge, yep, right there. I gave it to us this time. That is 6. And then your slant height, well, your slant height in the cone kind of looks like a lateral edge. This is the distance right here to the vertex. So this is our slant height. So I'm just going to plug in the parts. I don't even have to do any calculations, figure out missing information. I'm just going to go straight to surface area is pi times 6 times the 13.4 plus pi times 6 squared. Well, this gives me 80.4 pi plus 36 pi. And then all I need to do is add those together, combine our like terms. It just means add our numbers together. 116.4 pi, which is meters squared. Okay? All right, so that takes care of the surface area page. The next page is dealing with volume. So just fast forward to get to the next page. Thank you for taking care of this.